In this section, we will examine different angle pair relationships. In particular, we will look at complementary and supplementary angles. We distinguish between adjacent and non-adjacent angles. So let's just take a look over here. These two angles are adjacent because they share a common ray and their non-common sides form a right angle. The angles are complementary when their measures add up to 90 degrees. Measure of angle 3 plus measure of angle 4 is also equal to 90 degrees. Therefore, they are complementary. The only difference is they are not adjacent, they are non-adjacent. Their vertices are distinct. So I've called them X and Y. Supplementary angles. By definition, two angles are supplementary if their measures add up to 180 degrees. So measure of angle 5 plus measure of angle 6 equals 180 degrees. If you look at these two angles, they are adjacent to each other. They have a common vertex and they have a common ray in the interior. Their non-common sides are opposite rays. Opposite rays form a line. Okay, this is your common vertex. Let's call this P. Over here you have angles 7 and 8. 7 and 8. Let's call that L, M. Again, two distinct vertices. Measure of angle 7 plus measure of angle 8 is also equal to 180 degrees. Angle 1 and 2 are a linear pair. By definition, two angles are called a linear pair if they are adjacent angles on a straight line. Adjacent angle means they share a common ray, they sit next to each other, and since they are adjacent angles on a straight line, they are supplementary as well. So measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 equals 180 degrees. You have two intersecting lines which form four angles, and angle 4 and angle 5, which kind of sit across from each other, share a common vertex. Their non-common sides form opposite rays. Okay, actually let's choose a different color here. Okay, those are vertical angles. In this diagram, we see both vertical angles and linear pairs. We are going to see if we can identify any linear pairs which have just one variable, because we need to solve for X and Y. And I notice that these two angles here add up to 180 degrees. So I can write an equation which says 2y degrees plus 3y plus 30 degrees equals 180 degrees. And if we go ahead and solve that, we get 5y plus 30 equals 180. The degrees just cancel out. Subtract 30, subtract 30, and you get 5y is equal to 150. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. Y is equal to 30. So we've solved for y. Similarly, we can see that these two angles are also supplementary. So you get 4x minus 100 plus x plus 5 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. Combine like terms. Just reminding you, that's 5x minus 95 equals 180. The degrees cancel out on either side. Add 95, add 95. So 5x is equal to 275. Divide by 5, divide by 5. All right, so I get x is 55 and y is 30. Now, just as a check, I'm going to mentally plug in y back in here. I get in this equation here, and I'll get 2 times 5, or sorry, 2 times 30, which is 60. So I'll get 60 plus, let's see if I can get back to my slide. Oh, right there. So let's do a check on this one. We get 2 times 30 is 60 plus 3 times 30 is 90. That's 150 plus 30 is 180, so the y checks, and you can do that on your calculator too. And over here, if I do 55 times 4, that's 110, 220 minus 100 is 120 plus 6 is 180, and those both check. And you should do those for yourself. Always do a check by plugging your values back in. So moving on to the next sample, the next question. It says angles A and B are complementary. So what does complementary mean? It means angles that add up to 90 degrees. So you just write an equation which says measure of angle A plus measure of angle B is equal to 90 degrees, and plug in your expressions here. So you get 15x plus 3 degrees plus 5x minus 13 degrees equals 90 degrees. Collect like terms, and you get 20x minus 10 equals 90. The degrees cancels out. 20x is equal to 100. X is equal to 5 if you divide both sides by 20. It tells you to find the measures of angle in A and B, so therefore we need to substitute in the value of x. Measure of angle A would be 15 times 5 plus 3, which is 75, plus 3, which is 78 degrees. And the measure of angle B is going to be 5x minus 13, and we really should be consistent, so let's plug in the degree signs, and we get 5 times 5 is 25 minus 13 degrees is 12 degrees. Now you can tell that 78 plus 12 is 90, so this checks as well. The next example is worked out for you, and what you should do is work it out on your own and then check your numbers. The only difference is that A and B are supplementary, which means when you set your equation, you write, you add the two angles and make them equal to 180.